Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope you all are doing well. I don't know why that is. I don't cannot see myself in full screen here. Oh, that's okay. So, everyone, I hope you all had a good Oshlahu Ahmak Trecena. I hope it was a good one for you. And today we're going to be analyzing the Trecena of Oshlahu Toch 13 Ascending Fire Trecena. And as usually, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoy this content, this live that I do, everything that I ask you is just to uh, click the thumbs up button. That helps YouTube to deliver uh, more my videos to the community. And if you have questions, you can also leave here in the comment section below. I will be replying then along the way. And hello, this is my checking. Oh, how are you? Oh, nice to see. Greetings here from Brazil. Nice to see there is someone from Hawaii watching these lives. Yeah, it's good. This is a very exciting Tristan to analyze, especially because right now we is the actually it all depends how we start counting. The cycles because the Ahmak, the Oshilahu Ahmak 13 complementarity Trisena, it is always the one that's it's like it's a month in the calendar, like it's the one that blends together. So always for me, I always picture the Trecena as more like a zero, like it's the one that restarts everything. And this like is gonna be like the full Trecena that we are gonna be analyzing. That is in this first new cycle of Washaki Bats, especially because hello, Ricardo. Nice to see you. Hello, Chante. Nice to see you all in here. Because as I mentioned before, like the calendar has no beginning nor end, so we can start the calendar at any day. We can completely arrange the calendar just to suit our schedules, like the things that we would like to do. As the calendar can start at any day. But this, like following the Quiche tradition, this is gonna be the first like full Trecena inside of this new cycle of the after Washaki Bats. So I'm gonna be summarizing like what we experienced through the past Trecena. I hope you all enjoyed like the posts that are been doing daily with the calendar. I hope it's also being like a complementary to these lives that I can be a little bit more creative with the writing. So I hope it's being insightful for all of you. So the Oshila Ruach Mak Cesena, they started in Hunkat, was the Cesena that we spoke about the great cycle of complementarity. Ahmak is the novel that joins the complementary opposites, that puts them together so we can have a deal, we can have a result, we can have a birth. So remember, as I said, that the Ahmak is just like an end in the calendar, like what blends stuff together. So that Tracena, we have the continuity of time in Washaki Bats. So was this, the Tracena blending the old with the new, so we can have something new out of it, like we can have a birth of a completely new experience. So the same way that the Maya people they use when they were building the pyramids, like they always use the old structure as a base to build a new one on top of that. So the Oshilahu we can also see that as a way that we can use our past experiences, to start building something new on top of it, like using like our learnings, our lessons, like the lessons we learn. So maybe we can do better this time. We can make more conscious decisions. And because many times we enter into a cycle where we are just too excited about something, And then we ended up being blinded by that. So Ahmak also talks the blindness that emotions can cause by this act of blending stuff together. So it's the cycle of procreation, it's the cycle of the ancestors. So it's the cycle of the newborns, like the continuation of our lineages, like our species. And so that's why Ahmak enters into many stuff. Like it's the most complex now to summarize like this because it covers a lot of stuff. It also talks about like the act of falling in love, of by being blinded by these emotions. Because Ahmak in Quiche means the one that walk in darkness. By meaning like whenever you are too blind about something, you just start hitting the walls. You're hitting like you don't know where you're going. So it makes you do mistakes. That's why the Trecena, the past Trecena, the one that is finishing right now, starting home cuts, like we knew something heavy, new things that could be consuming us, like as the descending fire the cat represents, like the weight of the stuff we are carrying. So it was a Trecena that we had to see like the stuff we were committed, like how like we were handle all of these tasks, like the debts we enter. So we will be able to on the accumulation in Oshla let things go, to free your bag, just to let stuff in the past cycle, release all those emotions that could be extenuating you. So at the same time, see like to ponder what kind of commitments you would like to achieve in this new cycle, in this new 260 days in Wakib Toh and six sending fire. So you could, free the emotions in Kupti, restart in time in Wash Kibats, and then gestate the new path in Belair E, 9 Pathfinder. So we have like these 4 Nawals that would let stuff go. We would ponder everything that worked and did work, like the sacrifices, like they weren't worth it to continue on. So in Kuptsi, we just let them go to start things anew now on. But sometimes, it can happen. The emotions that were involved in this act of matching, of letting some stuff go, can sometimes still remain. Like we are just not just like a machine where you can just grab like some experience and just toss into the rubbish over there and just click like empty the trash, then everything's gone. Actually, like sometimes it takes time for us to get over from a new frustrating experiences or something like that's still consuming us. Sometimes it's just a matter for us to get involved into new activities, to make our minds just stay focused in something new, so we can be open spiritually as well for this new focus. So everything that happened during the past cycle, like this blending of the old and the new, now we got something together, this big birth in Oshida Wahmak that now is presented for us in the now one of this Tracena, whom naor, one noh, one thoughts, one knowledge, one sensing and thinking. And that represents like this new plan that we can follow. We already made our list or the things we'd like to gestate for this new path. So now it's going to be about structuring. So this Tracena starts in Hum Noh, Unaor, and goes into Oshlahu Toh, 13 ascending fire. So this plan that is starting right now from everything that got left from the past Tracena, like this plan that we can build right now to develop a structure to make it easy for us to follow, to 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 avoid just getting burned by the fire again, to get frustrated once again. So now we have the time just to build this plan and what is going to accumulate in the sacrifices we do to achieve the power. So it's going to be the Trecena of our the biggest commitment. Like Toh represents the ascending fire whenever we need to feed the fire so it can grow. It talks about like the sacrifices we do to achieve power or to rule something, to conquer something. So it's a now of the rulers. It's a very masculine now, a very dominant now. Like it's a now that is kind of difficult to negotiate. And now that we talk about the payments that we gotta do to achieve things. So it represents like these long-term goals that we do. For example, when you buy a house, that you need to pay your mortgage like every month. Like sometimes like the things goes outside of your plan, so it can cost you a little bit your well-being, like your mental health, because you start worry about many stuff like you didn't plan before, but you kind of had to deal with that. So that kind of consumes you. So that's something that is an aspect of Naoto. But whenever you finish paying that, like all of these efforts that you're going to be constantly doing to keep feed this big fire, at the end is going to be yours. But at what cost? It could have cost you everything, but it was the price that you were willing to pay. You commit yourself because you wanted to do that. You want to like conquer that dream, that goal. But so it could have cost you many stuff, maybe your health, but it's yours. So it's the price that you pay for the stuff that is going to be related to you, like in a big term. So that's why in Wakipto, in the past Trecena, in Washilahwahmak Trecena, is the one that we ponder the sacrifices that we committed ourselves during the beginning of the cycle, to see like if it's still worth it, continue sacrificing for that, paying that price. It makes us question like if we still wanted to continue with something. But Nemaya is not about just like holding any guiltness inside of us, even if we are not able to achieve. Sometimes it's okay to say, yeah, I committed myself to that, but then during the course, you realize like you didn't have the strength, like you didn't, like that stuff wasn't that important. Maybe you just changed your idea, change your mind. So you kind of let go of that. So it's kind of when you pay for the stuff that you, for any reason, you didn't want to proceed with that anymore. And now in this Trecena, we're gonna be doing like our biggest like commitment, just planning like what we're gonna be committing for this next 260 days to ponder in the next six fire. So it's gonna be just like building this huge bonfire in the middle for a ceremony to represent like our payments for this role that we're gonna be entered, for the things we want to achieve. And we're going to be starting in who no one thought, one knowledge. That is the beginning of a new idea, the beginning of a new plan. So then it's the new analysis and synthesis that will compose a plan. So everything that we want to commit, like like the better we are structured, like the better like we have a plan to follow to see like how like these ideas converge inside of a plan, like the safer it becomes, like the more likely we are to achieve that. So because we know what kind of steps we need to follow ahead. That's why in this Trecena is very important, like the how we're going to be structuring ourselves in order to achieve things. So in the same way that we need to build, like the circle of stones around the bonfire to avoid like that everything, the entire forest, goes into flames. We need to be aware of that. So the more like we think about the plans, like what we want to achieve, like the more we think about that, the better like we can build a plan that can be solid. But we don't need to work to do that like everything like in one single day. So there are some stuff that we need to start planning and start just fitting like the pieces of the puzzle like on the go, because we need to be also learning with the process as well, just like accumulating data. As the past Trecena, we spoke about combining the old with the new. So now we who know we can start like the using the data like we accumulate from our past experiences in order to use right now to avoid just getting frustrated or being burned by the fire again when we compromise ourselves into specific things. So this Trecena can also start like because as I mentioned, like sometimes in the past Trecena would be like a good day to start creating lists of the things you like to achieve. We don't need to like fuel our basket like so many ideas, because sometimes they do not fit in the same plan. So the lighter we keep like this plan, like these ideas, to have more room for sometimes stuff like that doesn't come like expectedly. We can deal with that, along the way. So we need to leave room for the unexpected to come, the unexpected things we gotta deal, because like that, not everything is gonna be running according to the plan. So we need to bear in mind that stuff can come in the middle and kind of end up messing up. Because thought is an owl that tend to break our certainties. And as I mentioned, like it's a rule now, is now this kind of hard to negotiate, but if you pay TOR, like everything is gonna be okay. So it's gonna be about paying for your commitment to this plan, these new ideas that we are starting right now. That could be fresh, clean. But as I mentioned, like the things in the Maya calendar is not prefixed. Oh, this day is gonna be happening like this. Like the Nawals, they pass the baton to one another. So with collecting collecting all the experiences, just pass for the other. So the past Trecena in Oshlahu Ahmak was a Trecena that we ended up blinded by that. We're still holding up, we're still holding to the stuff from the past. Like we're still keep following like a path like that. We are becoming obsessed about something. That's gonna be reflecting in how this one Noh is gonna be starting. Could be like the beginning, like the spring of obsessions, the spring of inflammation that can grow into like a big sickness in Oshilahutor. So all this underlying thing that Noh talks about, this plan, like the to structure things, is already being driven by Oshilahutor, who is pushing the time forward again towards the accumulation. So it's about like time is already seeing like what the structure we need to follow. So Hunor is the day to start building this structure, start building this plan, so we can more safely like achieve things. We can see like what is the next step to do, like what is the where like the ideas can fit with one another, like they can work with the others. And then after Hunor, one thought, we move to Kib Tihash, to cut, to incision, to healing, or to obsidian blade. If you would like to follow the see graphics, to follow the like this analysis, you can go to my website mayadaykeeper.me slash calculator, and that you can see. You can just search for the next day, so you can see like entire graphic of the TRECENA. So now we're going to be talking about Kib Tihash, to cut. So now two represents the retraction. If now one is a spring of water, the water that breaks the skin of the earth looking for a path. So it's going to be kind of fresh, new, but still not very strong. Now two is the moment that the water takes one step back to, or temporarily pause to accumulate more water before going forward. So it's a moment of calculation, or retraction for calculation, or taking one step back to see how we can calculate things better towards to the end. And now Tihash is the now of the cut, is the now of the incision. Tihash in Quiche means to bite and separate. Ti is to bite, hash, cut and separating. So we associate that with the obsidian blade, which is the material that they use over there for extirpation for the surgeons. Use the scalpel to cut in order to perform healing, but also is the same material that you use for the arrowheads or the spearheads to hunt or to defend a territory. So Tihash will talk about like the same material that can use for healing and hurts. But whenever we express Tihash, we talk about the communication, the powers that our words carry. So it's gonna be the words that heal and words that hurt. So two Tihash is gonna be calculating the things that we need to cut. If we started the TRECENA with an obsession, we can go back to see the previous TRECENA and cut. Use Tihash as an editor of the things you like. Maybe you've got so many ideas, So you can look back at your plan that you starting creating nó and cut the ideas that are loose over there, like the ideas that don't fit inside of the plan. You can also take this day for a self-healing, a day for to look after yourself, just to rewind, like to unwind a little bit before you move forward. It's the time just to cut everything that needs to be left in the past. So it's still a moment that you can look back to see how you can project things towards to the accumulation of this trecena. And also Tihash can also talk about like how looking back, like in the things like that we spoke that you like to commit, because so many things we can do out of excitement, like as we shift the cycle in the past trecena. And the past trecena was talking about blindness, sometimes being blinded by the projects, the enthusiasm of the projects, or a person. So it could be something that is still over there, making you overthinking, or making you exit to move forward. So Tihash can be the day that you can look back and cut, so you can free some space for the rest of the trecena. So you can commit, so you can use like the power of your words that you're going to be committing with the winds that you like to follow that. So it's going to be like the calculating the words that are going to be used to speak to the fire at the end. And then after Kepti Hash 2 cut, we're going to move to Oshib Kawuk 3 Shit Lightning. Now 3 is the water that opens the path. After the 2 retracts to charge, to calculate, now 3 already have enough water to go forward. So it's the moment that we can go forward, overcoming the obstacles, like whether just by going front or having to diverge to different things. And now Kawuk is the shit lightning, is the like it's the bright light that we see in the clouds. Maybe we do not see like the lightning, but we see like the some sort of illumination over there in the clouds that tells you something. So Kawuk is a noun that talks about deep intuition, but not that intuition that we talk about whenever like we learn, like we use the intuition by like the after doing the process of repetition and more memorization, like we do with like breathing or walking, like we do that intuitively without having to think. But it's not that this type of intuition. Kawuk talks about like something that we have no idea about a subject, but then suddenly we see a light of something. Just like you're in a dark room and then suddenly you just put the lights on and off really quick. Maybe your eyes can see where like the furniture is. You can see somebody you need to memorize. Maybe you don't know everything, so you got like some light about a situation, but maybe you got like an instant knowledge over that, but you don't know how you arrived into that conclusion. So you are not sure if you can rely on that or not, because it was just like the shit lightning. So every time we talk about this deep intuition, we talk about unsolicited information. It could be something good, like if we are focused about something, like we are committed about a plan, so we are structuring that. The more focused we are, like the more forward we are for that, like the more light we're going to be receiving, towards that, because we are ready with our attention onto that. But sometimes if you are too dispersed and now street can diverge into so many things, sometimes like for you it could be hard, depends on how your system works, like how your Nawals works inside of you. You could be a little bit more dispersed, like it's kind of for you could be more harder to focus into one single thing, to start working. Maybe you disperse into so many ideas and could be hard. So maybe you go on social media and start seeing something that is completely irrelevant, but then the Kawuk can still just give you a light of something that can make you worry about something else that could distract you from your plan. Could be something completely unuseful, or sometimes or if you just like too outside of your plan, like your commitments, maybe could be like a gossip of something. Kau can represent whenever you have like an information, you cannot not hold that anymore inside of you. You need to talk to someone. So you need to gossip that, just like a sudden lightning over there. You just poof, you just let go of the words. Like it's the type of communication because you cannot hold yourself. So that's also a side of Kawuk. And but it's as the hash talks about the power of the words, the Kawuk itself is going to be like the power, like how we communicate that. Like it's going to be like the clear vision, like it's going to be reflecting in our communication. So Oship Kawu is going to be opening the path for the lights that we can get from the bonfire. We're going to be building this Oshilahutor. So it's the that spark of light that we can be already see something here in this Trecena. So it can be the light of the ideas that is starting in Hunor. That we're going to be with time. We're going to be able to clarify even more this light of what to do, like what is the plan that we should follow. So Oship Kawuk is going to be this day to open the path for the light. So it can be like a very good day to stay focused. This Trecena, we're going to be talking about how we structure and how focused we need to be. Just like as I mentioned, like how because we need to be like our fire space very safely, so we can not end up being burned by the fire. So it's very important to be aware of that. And then from Oship Kawuk, we're going to move to Kahib Hunarpu for Conqueror's Son. Nawl 4 is a nawl that stops after the nawl 3 opens the path, like diverge or overcome the obstacles, is where the water stops in a container somewhere. That's why we can express the nawl 4 represented by the dam or by a well that needs to like you see like the waters in the container or just feel like it's completely stagnant or just waiting like or just slowly very slowly getting more volume, or the pool of waters that like the water from the waterfall stops. And now Hunarpu, we talk about the saga of the seed that goes to the darkness of the underground and needs to fight to get the nutrients and germinate and see the light of day and to become a flower, to attract, to show all its shine. And just like that, we can also associate that with the metaphor of the warrior that needs to go to the battle, so it needs to face the fears, so the darkness that inside from the fears to fight and find its glory. So that's how we can express in our Hunarpu is the battle to overcome darkness, to battle to overcome your fears so you can shine. Because in Kahib, so Kahib Hunarpu talks about the balancing like the fights that we need to enter. As I mentioned, we need to structure our plan in this Trecena. So we need to see like what kind of ideas, like are we willing to commit, to make these big payments in Oshilahutor by the end of the Trecena. But we need to choose like what kind of things we're going to commit very carefully. We need to know that everything comes with a price. Nothing comes free in this life, especially because whenever we talk about life in Quiche, comes the word kaslen. Kaslen means it's associated with naukat whenever we talk about debits. Like so, it's the debts that we enter. So everything that we take from earth, we must give back in the same proportion. So everything is this transaction. The same amount of air that we inhale, we need to give back whenever we exhale. So everything is going to be this transaction. And so Kahib Hunarpu, we're going to be talking about just making sure like we do like a balanced commitment to this, because many times like we stop, like we just let go of the things we put on our list that we wanted to achieve, because sometimes we are afraid to try. So Hunarpu represents, whenever like you're just excited about something, because it's easy to get excited about our ideas, the plans that we built. Like it's easy for us to see already the end of the road whenever like we see the glory, like we see the glow from the path, like we already picture us achieving that goal. Like it's nice, it's a nice feeling. We need to dream, like that's what's gonna be like the fuel for us to move forward and how we're gonna choose this stuff. But sometimes we like the easier we make this plan, like the last stuff, just like knowing like what kind of battle we are entering in, like the better it's gonna be for us to achieve that. Sometimes we don't need to enter into big battles, just many complicated stuff, to get like great rewards. So Kahib Hunarpu is about establishing the battle that you need to enter. So you won't end up, just getting frustrated. Also, at the same time, like sometimes we're afraid to try, sometimes we are afraid to succeed. That's why, we can become stagnant over there. So there is no need to rush. You don't need to fix like so many great things. You can start slow, because even like the simple stuff that gives us already a lot of work to do that, to make some stuff to see the light of day. The more stuff we start adding to our list, like the more complicated it becomes, to commit to all of them. So, and also talks about to establish, to see like the price, as I mentioned, because sometimes we are entering to some stuff completely in the dark. Like we just got an idea, but that idea is not completely bright. Like we haven't tried, we haven't put our efforts to see if we really want to keep doing that. So Hunahpuken represents the false glow. Just like, well, you think like you're just getting gold, but instead you're just getting copper instead. So it talks about like this illusion that we can enter, because it could be just enter into some stuff out of just excitement. So Kahib Hunahpu, just to enter, just to choose the battle we need to face. And then after Kahib Hunahpu, we're gonna be going to Hob Imosh, 5 water, 5 collective consciousness. Now 5 is the water that overflows after the now 4, just grows, just fills the container. Now the now 5, the water overflows. So it's the stuff like it's the moment where you cannot contain the water, you cannot contain the force of water. So it's gonna be the now where things can go sideways, because it's too much force, like you cannot control. And now talking also about Imosh, the now of the water, the injection of force, like the substance that can inject life into things. Like you can inject life into the seed so it can sprout. So it has the power to give life. But it's too much power can also lead the seed to rotten, can lead things known to madness. So whenever we talk about Naorimosh, is the injection of force, but it's too much force that is hard to handle. Can be like, that's why Imosh is also always connected to the left hand, not in the meaning of being left-handed, but more like in a way that you're just carrying like a lot of strength with your less precise hand. So you need to be very careful how you're going to be using all of that strength, because you're not going to be completely precise. So that's like whenever we talk about Imosh, Imaya is what we are referring to. So it can be like the element that can make things grow, just like we talk about liquids. For example, if you're going to inject like fuel, like gasoline, like alcohol in the fire to make the fire grow, you need to be very careful, because you can end up not just getting burned by the fire. So that's the representation of Hobmosh. Like, can be too much strength that can make like everything go on into flames in Oshlahutor. So it's a day that you need to be careful. Like, not just in Mosh. Remember that everything adds to what we're gonna be seeing, the repercussion in Hobby Mosh. Because maybe like the overflow, we're just gonna notice whenever like 13 Toch arrives, like or when 12 Canil arrives. So it all depends on how things are moving to, or just passing the baton to one another. So hobby mosh can be this overflow of the injection of force that you need to be very careful. You need to use your precision to avoid leaving stuff to the madness. Also connecting to that, Imosh, when we talk about the collective consciousness, is where we can draw our inspirations from this abstract world, like where we draw like our ideas over there. But our ideas are unmaterial. The ideas are really not materialized yet. So we just, it could be like just an illusion, like Hudarpu could be referring. But Emosh also talks whenever you're not focused enough, so you are too dispersed about stuff, then you can get confused, you can get ideas from other people, so it can be a mess. So like this collective consciousness of madness over there. So it can make you like misunderstand stuff or just trying to pick up ideas that are not complementary to each other, they do not fit your plan, and can make you just become more and more confused about where you want to go, the things you'd like to commit, or sometimes what makes you just put more fire, like more fuel into the fire. So it's now to be careful on how we're gonna be injecting force whenever as like the fire is overflowing. So we need to be very very careful with Hob Emosh. And also is a representation of how we should approach things in life, because everything has a repercussion, so we need to be aware of that and remembering like the goal of the calendar, just going through these novels, learning and repeating cycle by cycle, is that we can, with time, learn some of the stuff and make more conscious decisions, like think faster through the situations like that let us down in life, so we can build ourselves back up and return to enjoy our experience and just looking after our well-being. So we need to be aware of that. And then moving from Hob Emosh 5 water, we go to Wakib Yik 6 wind. Now 6 is the heart of the Trecena, the moment where we put things into perspective to analyze the repercussions of this overflow of water. So it's going to be the time to enter into the dry cave, to listen to our thoughts, to listen to our ideas, putting things into perspective. And now Yek is the spirit of the wind. Wind in Quiche means is called kakik. And when you talk about the spirit of the wind, the now is now Yek. It's the spirit of the wind. It's the insufflation of life. It's the breath of life. So it's like the wind connects us all. It's the one like that is carrying all the sound of my voice through the speakers of your phone, of your computer, to your eardrums. So it's the elements that also that is necessary for the fire to exist. So it's gonna be, helping the fire to ascend. So without the winds, we wouldn't be able to make fire as well. And so it's going to be the heart of this trecena, like the amount of like how we control the wind, to make things grow in this trecena. We need to ponder like the repercussions of hobby mosh. But then you can recalibrate now with this insufflation of life. So now Yek is an owl that can push things forward, like it's an external owl that can makes us go forward to achieve stuff. So it's a very sensational. That's why it's the heart of this Trecena. So we need to ponder like how much enthusiasm we need to add to this fire, to this commitment that we are doing, to push the plan forward, to structure that like more. Otherwise, like as the wind can lose the control, like doesn't have a single direction to go. Maybe if it's not like if you're not just following the plan or follow the structure, it becomes so easy for us to lose a hand on something and just let the wind and blow and just cause like the entire forest to be on fire. And but also like, could be like the moment that if you feel like you're just not doing too much, maybe you need some more enthusiasm. So you need to ponder like what is lacking over there, like what is your heart is asking to ascend. So maybe you could be adding like it's not all about just structuring, just talking about like, all of this masculine energy, but it's also more about like where does your heart would like to go? Where does your heart like where the winds of your heart is blowing? So it also try following this direction. But be aware that now it can be too explosive. Like it can cause also the repercussion of Thor burning you. So it can make the fire, goes against you. And then from Wakib Yek, 6 wind, we go to Ukub Tor, 7 clarity. Now 7 is the climax of this trecena, is the hottest part, like it's an explosion of passion. And so that's why we refer that to the hot water, like the hot springs that we have like in Guatemala, but can also represent like the geyser, can also represents the lava from the volcano, like the eruption. So in the now 7, we can already have a glimpse, already have an idea of where things are going to be accumulated by the end of the trecena. So in a certain way, you can call the 7 as the final. And so because we can already see, that's why time is not a straight line that it's just go without like an end. So it's all interweaving, like what we can see already is connecting to like the stuff that we can achieve over there, like in the future. So it's Thor is already pushing the time forward. But in Ukub Thor, maybe things are gonna be more clear, as Akabal suggests, because Akabal is the now that represents the first rays of the sun that starts illuminating what is in the dark. Is the now of the clarity, like it's taking the light to see what is in the dark. So it's about clarifying and stuff. If we start an idea completely in the dark, maybe by Ukuba Kabal, we maybe already clarified the plan more. Like we already see like the steps we need to follow. So 7 Akabal is gonna be the day like where you can already see like what kind of stuff you are entering to. Maybe it could be that time that you see, or maybe those ideas are better if they stay a little bit more in the dark, or they come back to your darkness to gestate a little bit more. So Akabal also talks about gestating and stuff, what stays in the dark and what comes to the light. So it's gonna be about that. So deciding like what kind of ideas that we had in Hunor that it's not complementary, that it's better to let that just say a little more. Maybe in the next cycle, in the middle of the cycle, you already have more clarity, and you can put them to work. Once again to see if they fit later. So Ukuba Kabal is going to be clarifying, like it's going to be like the light that your fire is going to be able to shine over there, like he's going to be able to illuminate over like the darkened areas. So it's going to be so 7 Akabal is going to be deciding what stays in the dark and just staying a little longer and what comes to the light. And try to avoiding complaining about stuff, because Akabal tends to be very perfectionist about the stuff. Adding to this Oshlahutor, that is a very demanding Nawl, it's a very demanding Trecena. So no surprise that in the climax we can see Akabal demanding perfection, demanding that the plan works beautifully. So the thing is, you don't have to worry to have everything figured out. So there is always time to gestate a little bit more, to new things to see, like to clarify. Sometimes more skills that we need to learn to achieve that, to be able to have more clarity. So it's going to be about having this clarity to see what kind of commitments at least we are able to handle for this next cycle. And then from Wukuba Kabal, we go to Washakib Tor, Washakib Kat, 8 burning into ashes. Now Kat is another now related to the fire. And after the now 7, the Trecena restarts with the now 8. So now 8 represents the restart. So it's to reorder stuff, like is when nature start creating patterns, just like when if now 1 we have like only those cloud days with but we don't see the rain, but we know like this cloud is gonna return like stronger, so we're gonna be feeling the rain more prepared, like a stronger rain. So it talks about like in nature reinitiating and creating patterns. So that's when you talk about now 8, we're going to be start talking about restarting the Trecena. But as if you just go for a stroll in the park, like whenever you're going to complete like the second round, so you know like you're going to be able to recognize certain trees and certain people that were in the way, so you can already see some patterns over there. So it's gonna be like you're gonna be more prepared for that as doing something for the second time. And now Kat is another now related to the fire. If Thor is the ruler of this Trecena, is the ascending fire, the one that you need to feed in order to grow. Now Kat is the one that is consuming the fire, is gonna be burning into ashes. If talk, we talk about the sacrifices we do in order to achieve power for ourselves, like is our commitment to something. Kat represents the sacrifices we do to sustain that, or just to give life to the other. So it's going to represent like the repetition of our efforts, like the continuity of our efforts to be able to sustain this big sacrifice of Oshilahutor. So to be able to achieve big things, so we need to be able to handle all of these small efforts, these daily efforts like the fire is going to be requiring. So this is that's why I mentioned in this Tracena, the lighter like we walk, like we don't need to feel like our bag of cat like with so many ideas for the plan, because otherwise it's going to make your plan heavy. If you just put small stuff like just to achieve your goals, is good. So you're gonna have like more um, free space in your bag for in a way if you need to like help someone in that needs your help with something that you can offer. Because Scott talks about this sacrifice you do to help the other. Also, the to leave some space, you know, for us to not get like extenuated by these efforts. So Washa Keep Cuts is the return of the efforts, the return of these tasks that you know they are part of this big commitment. If Toch represents when you already get the house, now Kat represents the monthly bills that you need to pay, or like the mortgage, like you need to pay every month until you ascend the fire. And so that's why we in this side of the Tracena, we don't want to be heavy by having so many ideas that's already being hard to structure a plan right at the beginning. So it's about freeing our bag. Remember that two Tihash in the beginning of the Tracena. As the second time we are walking through this path, we already kind of know where things tend to accumulate. You already know by past experience, like what you can handle, what you cannot handle. So it's about using the data on our favor. So again, talking about the Maya calendar is not about entering into some beliefs. You know, it's more about like just acknowledging the data, like the real stuff, the facts, so we can use them on your favor to build new stuff. So it's not about believing it, it's about stop believing. You can have like your beliefs for everything, can ask you for everything, but whenever we talk about the calendar, the better we deal with data, no, the better, because we're talking about you making conscious decisions, not depending on something like that comes from blinds, that comes from like a belief. So that's why Washa Keep Kat is a perfect moment, maybe reassure if the plan can work. You know, it's not just about of excitement that you can achieve things. Sometimes the price is higher than like than what I mentioned in the beginning, than we expected. So it's about being aware of that, just using like our experiences on our favor. So that's about Wash Keep Cuts, to return, restarting, reassuring about like how we're gonna be able to sustain these commitments. And then from Washa Keep Cut, 8 burning into ashes, we're gonna move to Belaer Khan, 9 stellar serpent. Now 9, who talks about what is hidden from sight, what is going on, you know, underneath, behind the curtains. We refer to the inner rivers, or to the to wet caves where they have water in the inside, life can come out, you know, from that. You know, it has like a an opportunity for growing life over there. And now can we talk about the Nawa of intervention, the fury of the sky? Is the Nawa that we associate with the sound of thunder. In Quiche, the thunder we talk about Kaan, adding one more A to the writing. Kaan is the power of the sky, like is the fury of the sky intervening in nature, like coming from the dry season to the wet season, announcing the rain, announcing the intervention. Also, when we talk about the stellar serpents, is referred to the shape of the lightning that comes from the sky and reaches the earth. So is this thread that connects the sky and earth. So it's the communication. So it's the something that requires you to intervene, like the needs to come out of sudden. Sometimes it's stronger in order so it can be listened to, that something you cannot ignore. It also talks about wisdom, because we need to be wise to intervene into a situation. So it's not about like collect like this new knowledge. So it's about how we apply this knowledge that we start apply, like our experiences, for the practical stuff that we enter. And also, Khan represents the enemy. We can talk about the poison, like something that could be, running over there just to enter softly to end up stronger. So it's a way to be aware of the stuff that you are involved, maybe like the manipulation of other people as well. So in Bela Erkan, we're going to be talking about the inner threats that we need to face, like they just stating the intervention that we gotta do. If we started this trecena already too laid back or too obsessed about something, we need to at some time to intervene. So you need to see like how everything is in balance. That's why it's important in the beginning of the trecena into Tihash. We do an act of self-healing just to cut off the things we don't want to be attached anymore. So, because otherwise there could be an enemy in disguise. We need to be aware of that. So we need to know how to intervene into that, to be wise, and how we're going to be using our knowledge in order to build that. And also just stating the intervention in order to complete this big commitment of Oshilahutor. So Bela Erkan it could be this gestation of the wisdom that you need to have, like the wisdom of not accumulating stuff, just like just listening to the data we are collecting in this trecena to follow this stuff more safely. And but also to be aware as well of, for example, the more we try to structure the plan, there is always going to be stuff that's going to be in the dark. Like we cannot cover everything, like all the sides. There is something unexpected that can arrive. That's why thought also is connected to breaking our certainties. And so we need to be aware of these unseen threats that Bela Khan can suggest. Because every time we are just making a fire, something can go sideways, even though like you're just trying to build like this bonfire like place as safe as possible. Sometimes the wind, just can take like a break of burning fire to the grass and cause everything to be on fire. So there is always some of stuff that could be hidden over there. So Bela Erkan is a way to be aware of the stuff like that we are not paying attention to that can cause an affectation over there. And from Bela Erkan, also Bela Erkan can also talks about like just taking like the illusion we are entering, as we spoke in the beginning of the Tracena in 4 Hunarpu, because sometimes we are just afraid of something and we could be maybe seeing like too excited just seeing the false glow. Bela Erkan is about just trying to see beyond the illusion, try to be smarter than that, just not trust 100% in everything, remembering that there is no certainty that we can create here in life. So it's just to be aware that things can dramatically change out of sudden, that can be expressed by this Bela Erkan. And then from nine serpents, we go to Laur Kame, 10 ancestors. Now 10 is a water that converts, just take the water from the rivers, the water from so many other sources, but also is the one that provides to the land. So provides for the animals. So it's about is the act of receiving and also giving. That's why we talk about the convergence in our time. We can talk about doing collaboration with others, just join our forces in for like a common goal. That's also we can also express now ten is like the rock formation where there are like an agglomeration of rocks in one single place. That's also now ten. So is everything coming together. And now Kame is the now we associate to the ancestors, like the deceased ancestors. Is the now that talks about the spirits, the floats in the breezes of the wind, carrying all the support, carrying like all of the past experiences, like the past times. It's not just like the human ancestors, but it's also the ancestral times that changed, according to the passing of days. So whenever we talk about Naokame, we're going to be talking about the ancestors in that way as well. So it's the now of support. It's like when someone wishes you well, just like you have someone that got some faith on you. So it's just softly, gently pushes you forward. So that can be an expression of this support of Kame. But I also can express whenever like we're not able to let something go, and then you just feel your heart heavy, but then you start suffering from that, or if you left out from the situation. So that's the other side of now kame, feeling with your heart heavy. So 10 kames can be the convergence of support. Sometimes, as I mentioned in the beginning, sometimes we could be sometimes afraid of facing the battle of trying to achieve things in our lives. Sometimes we need the support of other people to create a courage to be able to face that battle. So Kame can also express, like in the Popol Vuh, like the realm of the darkness in there, but not about just correlating to something that could be like bad or evil. We're not talking about like that. You're just talking about like some these deep areas in life that we need to cross sometime, but it's just by crossing then that we really see like our real strength. So Laur Kame talks about that we don't need to draw that strength from by ourselves alone. We can use other people. So we can ask for the support of other people, or how can we achieve all of these things that we build in our plans, like in an easier way, so we don't have to suffer that much. So it's a time that we can ask of other people if we don't know what to do, like we are exiting of becoming frustrated once again, because for any reason we may feel like, oh, we are fading into something, or went into any negative or darker areas, like darker realms. So that's where we can ask for support, is from the collective, asking for the support to heal, like maybe a suffering heart, to release the pressure that we may feel, because it's normal for us to feel insecure about the things we are entering. We never know like what's going to be like the real price, but still we need to try. But if we need like an extra push, a little help from the others, a little bit like of support, or Laurkame is a great example of that. And from Laurkame, we go to Hulaur Ker 11 deer. Now 11 is the water that spreads, is the expanse of something, but it also has the double nature that can also dilute or can dissolve the property of something. So it's the only number Nawal that carries like this double face. Now Ker is the Nawal that talks about spiritual strength. We talk about the altar establishment, um, Talk about balancing four legs, just like the deer that has, and also balance between the sky and the earth, as this deer has the white spots in the back representing the stars and the belly that protects the earth. So Ker, the deer, is the representation of the Maya altar. The four legs table is the place where we can do our intermediate between the realm of the ancestors and the realm in here. So it's the place where we can draw strength for us to carry on. So that's why now Kerr talks about strength, talks about spiritual strength that we need to have. So Hula Kerr is about spreading our strength, or spread our like the spread the balance that we have. As we are talking about structuring a plan, like having something solid. So when care is a strength, so we can find multiple ways, to ground our ideas or to give strength into that. Not only to us, because sometimes we can inject strength, we can ask for the spiritual strength for our projects, since we are our spiritual parents from them, spiritual father or mother. So 11 is going to be about spreading like this spiritual strength, but be careful like how much you spread. Remember at the beginning of the trecena we spoke about that too much force uncontrolled, just like in hobby mosh, can lead things into madness. So first, just to build the ground, like just try to stay grounded as much as possible, so you can put more strength with more safety. So that's going to be Hula is going to be talking about. But also, from the multiple things that the Kerken talks about, can talk whenever we are reluctant about something. Remember when we spoke about maybe being afraid, could be reluctant, maybe could be something that can stops us in the path, it can makes us stagnant, just like when the deer that needs to go down to the valley to drink water from the river. It has fears from the prey, from the predators that are around there. And whenever the deer sees a predator, it's like it cannot run. You just see like it's frozen. So it's gonna be reluctant to move because of the fear. So that's why we need to expand our spiritual strength to be able to not let like this fear stops us in life, stops us from achieving the commitments we put ourselves into. And so it's about diluting this reluctancy. And from Hula Urker, we're gonna go to Kabla Urkanil 12 seed. Now 12 is the hidden balance of the Trecena. Is the last step before the accumulation. So it's the last step to balance things, just to bring the hidden balance to make things more even. And so we talk about like maybe the repercussion of what happened in the now 5. So 12 is going to give you like what is going to be the repercussion, like the repercussion also after spreading with now 11. And also where you can see like you can have like you can cash out stuff in the Trecena. And now Canil is the now of the seed that that is only the potential to become a huge tree, is the potential of you get harvesting your abundance, your food. But it's only the potential. The seed alone cannot germinate. It needs like the proper soil, it needs the proper nutrients, in the proper amounts of water, so it can sprout. But if you overdose, it can rotten the seed. The seed can enter in putrefaction. So that's something that we need to be aware of now. Canil is going to be like the one that's going to be completely associated on how we're going to be injecting things to make it sprout. And as this is a strong trecena, we need to be very careful on how we're going to be looking after the seed that tends to balance the stuff in this trecena. So it can be the moments where we can enter into exaggeration from the stuff that we do to make it grow. Sometimes we want a lot of strength, but it's not what we need. Sometimes we need just to stop, just to see, like just to let the seed absorb the water, just to collect all the nutrients before we go there and just give, like, just to feed that again. The same way that we need to know how to feed the fire, for safely, just stay there, just being like us, just making its purposes, just to bring some heat. So Kabla Urkanil is going to be talking about like this hidden balance, like just having like the complementary elements over there, just to help you further. So it's about like how we're going to be dosing everything to keep things in balance, so we are able to commit ourselves safely. And from Kabla Urkanil 12 seed, we're going to go to Oshilahu Toh, 13 ascending fire and the ruler of this Trecena. Now 13 represents the ocean, the big accumulation of water. It's the oldest entity. So we talk about what transcends, but not just the ocean, but we talk about like the big lakes here, where you can see also the horizon, something like that transcends. And just like the Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. So that's the association we're getting in the 13. Like it's so big that you cannot ignore. And now, Toh, again, we're going to be talking about the ascending fire, how we do the sacrifices we do to achieve power. So 13 Toh is going to be talking about the accumulation of everything that we are seeing here. Is what pushing the Trecena forward since the first words of idea that pops into our heads with Hunor. So after like the first word is already Toh, that is on the command, just trying to create this commitment, just looking for something to achieve, looking for something to conquer. That's why we're going to be referring this Toh as the big commitment, like our biggest payment in order to achieve things. But at the same time, we need to be aware at the price of the stuff, like the price of our commitments. That's why the better we structure our plan, the better we know like what steps to follow, less likely like it's going to be the chances for us to to be burned by the fire. And so that's how we analyze this Trecena. This is the biggest commitment in order to achieve power that we're going to be pondering to see like what stuff we are achieving whenever the Ahmak Trecena comes back. So then after this Trecena, we're going to be going for the Oshilahu Yek Trecena, the 13 wind Trecena. So in this Trecena is going to be about clarifying our commitments, clarifying our plan to see what is we are able to commit to, like if we're able to pay the price. And I think that's it for this analysis. If you have any questions related to the Trecena or the Maya calendar or anything else related, I can be here a few more minutes to reply. If not, we can close the live here. I'm about to schedule another live with Tata Pabiantel, because since like I don't have my computer anymore where I can work on the videos and editing them like the way I like to provide use. It is like with lives, I can keep feeding the channel. So as it's been a minute since the last time I had a Tata Pabiantel here in the channel. If you have any questions, things you'd like to ask directly to the RE, for a real Maya person, not someone that's only learning, like only an apprentice. So you can make your questions, and I will see like what's the best day during this Trecena that we are able to go live together and have the chat with the RE. So. Okay, thank you, Ricardo. Thank you for staying here with me. Thank you, Chante. Thank you, everyone else here watching this live. I appreciate you, and I wish you all a great Trecena ahead. If you feel like messaging me about anything, you can reach me through on Instagram or by WhatsApp. The links in the description here of the video. So have a great lesson ahead, everyone, and see you all in our next live. Bye bye.